Listen up. There's a truth that don't make the headlines, a truth hidden in the quiet moments of life. The kind you can't fake, can't buy, can't hustle your way into. There's a light, a force, a rhythm that moves through some women like the wind moves through the streets at midnight. You can feel it when she walks in a room, something heavy, something real, something divine. God don't pick just anybody. Nah, he chooses the ones who've been through the fire and still shine, the ones who know pain but don't let it own them. You see, this ain't about looks or wealth. It ain't about the titles or the applause. It's about soul. It's about that quiet strength that whispers, I was made for something greater. Tonight, we're going to talk about the signs, 15 signs, to be exact, that show when a woman is chosen, when her life is more than her struggles, when her presence alone tells the world, I'm walking with purpose, and I ain't here by accident. So open your eyes, open your heart, because the energy I'm about to unfold is powerful, raw, and undeniable. There is a presence in the world that cannot be taught, cannot be earned, and cannot be replicated. A force that announces itself quietly but unmistakably. Some women walk through life with a light that isn't their own, a radiance that draws attention not because of vanity, but because of a deep connection to something higher, something eternal. This is the essence of being chosen. The first sign that God has marked her path. Divine recognition is subtle, yet powerful. It isn't flashy or loud, but when it touches a room, you feel it. It's in the way people are drawn to her wisdom, in the way her words settle hearts, even when they are sharp or challenging. It's in the way she carries herself, not with arrogance, but with a quiet certainty that comes from knowing she is aligned with a purpose far greater than herself. You can't fake this. You can't mimic it. When God recognizes a woman, the world feels it even before she knows the full magnitude of her own calling. This recognition manifests in the relationships she forms, in the doors that open, and in the opportunities that arrive seemingly at the right moment. It's as if the universe itself conspires in her favor, not because she manipulates it, but because her life resonates with divine frequency. People naturally gravitate toward her presence, seeking guidance, comfort, or even just the warmth of her energy. Her impact is immediate, but also enduring. A conversation with her lingers, her advice echoes. Her laughter carries a healing undertone, and her tears, when they fall, teach compassion and empathy. There is a rhythm to her existence that aligns with something beyond the visible, something sacred, and it becomes impossible for those around her to ignore the fact that she is not just living for herself, but carrying a mission that carries weight beyond the mundane. Divine recognition also shows up in the way she navigates life's trials. When hardships strike, she doesn't crumble under pressure. She becomes more refined, more luminous. It is in these moments that the divine signature becomes undeniable. The struggle, rather than diminishing her, accentuates her essence. People notice it, perhaps even subconsciously, and are drawn to the resilience that she radiates. Her courage is not performative. It is authentic and deeply spiritual. This is why recognition isn't always about applause or validation from society. It is about being seen on a spiritual plane, understood by God, and indirectly by those attuned enough to feel the divine pattern in her life. Even her mistakes carry lessons that illuminate the paths of others, and this too is part of the recognition. God uses her life as a beacon, even in imperfection, teaching that being chosen is not synonymous with being flawless. Another dimension of divine recognition is the clarity of her intuition. She seems to sense the right steps before they are obvious, to understand the right words before they are spoken, to feel the currents of life in ways that defy ordinary logic. Her choices are guided by more than mere reasoning. They are influenced by an unseen hand, by a wisdom that feels ancient, spiritual, and true. People around her often wonder how she knows, how she feels, how she seems to walk in alignment with a force larger than themselves. That alignment is the first sign, an unmistakable indicator that God's touch is evident in her life. Divine recognition transforms not just her, but the spaces she inhabits. Ordinary rooms feel alive, conversations carry depth, and her presence becomes a reminder of something higher. She embodies a balance of humility and authority, softness and strength, vulnerability and courage. There is a magnetism that is spiritual in origin, a signal to the world that she carries more than her own story. She carries a divine imprint, a signature that is impossible to ignore and impossible to replicate. Strength is not something that is given lightly, and it is never handed out without testing. For the woman chosen by God, strength is forged in fire, tempered in struggle, and polished through endurance. Life has a way of breaking the unprepared, of scattering the unready, but the chosen woman absorbs the weight of her challenges and transforms it into power. She does not merely survive, she thrives, turning obstacles into lessons and hardships into stepping stones. Every trial, every setback, every heartbreak is not a punishment, but a preparation, a divine sculpting of her character. The world may see her battles as burdens, but she knows they are proof that she is being prepared for something far beyond ordinary comprehension. Her strength is quiet, not boastful. It does not shout for recognition, yet it speaks volumes to those who witness it. She carries herself with a resilience that cannot be taught, a fortitude that is unmistakably God-given, because it has been tested in ways that only the divine could orchestrate. When she faces adversity, she meets it not with fear, but with a steadfast faith. She understands that pain is temporary, but the lessons it carries are eternal. Each challenge she overcomes adds layers to her wisdom, a depth to her understanding of life that cannot be found in books or lectures. The storms she endures shape her perspective, making her empathetic, grounded, and fiercely determined. She becomes someone who sees beyond the superficial struggles of life, recognizing patterns, understanding intentions, and moving with a purpose that is aligned with a higher calling. People around her notice this strength, not because she demands attention, but because it radiates naturally. She becomes a beacon for those who are lost, a guide for those who are weary, and a source of inspiration for those who doubt their own capacity to endure. What sets her apart is not the absence of struggle, but the way she handles it. She refuses to allow pain to dictate her story. Where others see walls, she sees doors. Where others feel defeated, she finds resolve. Her resilience is a testimony to the divine, a living example that God does not abandon his chosen. It is in her ability to rise again and again, to face the impossible with courage and grace, that the world glimpses the unmistakable mark of a woman set apart. She embodies a paradox, tender and strong, vulnerable yet unbreakable, human but divinely inspired. This duality becomes her signature, the unmistakable proof that strength in a chosen woman is not merely physical or mental, it is spiritual, sourced from a place beyond the material, flowing through her from the divine itself. Her trials also teach her patience, humility, and discernment. She learns that not every battle is hers to fight, that timing is as important as effort, and that sometimes the most powerful action is restraint. She watches, she waits, she listens, and she acts only when the path is clear. This kind of strength is invisible to the casual observer, but undeniable to those who understand the weight of her journey. Her story becomes a map for others, a reminder that struggle is not a sign of failure, but a signal of preparation. God's chosen women understand that every test, no matter how brutal or unfair it seems, is an opportunity to grow closer to their purpose, to refine their character, and to walk with integrity even when the world seems determined to break them. Strength through trials is not just about enduring pain, it's about transforming it. It's about taking every wound, every disappointment, and every heartbreak and turning it into a force that uplifts, empowers, and inspires. The chosen woman becomes a vessel of hope, a living testament that resilience is beautiful, that courage is contagious, and that divine strength is always present in those who are willing to endure, to rise, and to walk boldly in the purpose God has laid before them. Authenticity is a force that cannot be faked, borrowed, or forced. For a woman chosen by God, authenticity is not a choice. It is a reflection of her alignment with something greater than herself. She moves through the world without masks, without pretense, because she knows that God honors the genuine soul. Her purpose is not dictated by trends, opinions, or external pressures. It is written in the core of her being, shaped by divine intention and personal integrity. To live authentically is to honor that calling, to refuse to settle for a life that feels hollow or dictated by others' expectations. There is a certain magnetism in a woman who walks in truth, an invisible energy that draws the right people, opportunities, and experiences into her orbit. Those who are attuned can feel it immediately, a resonance that communicates that she is more than her circumstances, that she is guided by a higher plan, and that her actions are deliberate, meaningful, and intentional. A chosen woman does not chase validation because she understands that her value is inherent and preordained. She does not compromise her morals for convenience or comfort. When she says no, it is not rejection born of pride. It is protection of the divine mission she carries. When she chooses yes, it is not blind agreement. It is an informed alignment with her purpose and the larger plan she serves. Her authenticity becomes her compass, guiding her through decisions, relationships, and challenges. She refuses to dilute her essence for the sake of approval. And this refusal becomes a powerful testimony. People notice her integrity even when it is inconvenient or countercultural because it is rare, luminous, and unshakable. Living true to oneself requires courage, and courage is precisely what distinguishes a chosen woman from the crowd. Purpose and authenticity are inseparable. She knows that her life has meaning beyond herself, and that each step she takes can affect lives in ways she may never fully comprehend. Her actions are intentional because she recognizes the impact she carries. Even in mundane moments, there is a clarity to her presence, a sense that every choice, word, and gesture contributes to a larger narrative that God is orchestrating. When she speaks, her words are charged with conviction and truth, not ego or superficiality. When she acts, she does so with deliberate intention, recognizing that her life is a living message, a testament to the divine pattern she is part of. There is a consistency in her character that cannot be manufactured. It flows from an internal alignment with her soul and her calling. A chosen woman's authenticity also manifests in her courage to embrace her flaws and her strengths equally. She does not pretend to perfection, nor does she hide her vulnerabilities. She knows that true power lies in acknowledging one's truth, in accepting all aspects of self, and in walking forward without apology. This self-awareness fosters empathy and connection with others because people sense when someone is unguarded and sincere. Her authenticity becomes contagious, inspiring others to examine their own lives, to confront their own pretenses, and to seek alignment with their higher purpose. Her presence is a reminder that living intentionally and authentically is not only possible but necessary for fulfillment and spiritual alignment. Purpose is the anchor that steadies her in the storms of life. While distractions, noise, and societal pressures swirl around her, she remains focused on the trajectory that God has set. She understands that deviation from her purpose can dilute the impact she was meant to make. This focus does not make her rigid or cold. It makes her disciplined, thoughtful, and deliberate. Every action is a reflection of her deeper intention, and this intentionality becomes a hallmark of her life. The authenticity she exhibits and the purpose she carries combine to form a presence that is magnetic, inspiring, and unmistakably divine. The woman chosen by God carries an influence that is subtle yet undeniable, a force that extends far beyond herself. Her impact on others is not something she manufactures or seeks. It is a natural extension of the divine light within her. Every interaction, every gesture, every word carries weight because it is imbued with intention and spiritual awareness. People are drawn to her presence, not just for comfort or guidance, but because her life embodies a message, a living testament of hope, resilience, and purpose. She lifts others without effort, inspires without preaching, and teaches without judgment. Those who cross her path often leave transformed, carrying fragments of her wisdom, courage, and clarity into their own journeys. This impact is one of the most powerful signs that she has been chosen because it demonstrates that her existence is part of a larger design, one that reaches far beyond her immediate world. Her influence is often quiet, almost invisible to the casual observer, yet profound to those who feel it. She may not realize the depth of her effect on others because she acts without the need for recognition. She comforts strangers with a simple smile. She guides friends through uncertainty with steady advice, and she uplifts her community by simply embodying truth and grace. People are drawn to her not because she demands attention, but because her authenticity resonates on a spiritual frequency that cannot be ignored. Her life becomes a mirror in which others see the potential for their own growth, courage, and transformation. The chosen woman understands that her impact is not measured in accolades or applause, but in the subtle shift she ignites in hearts, minds, and souls. There is also an element of healing in her presence. She recognizes pain in others because she has faced her own, and this empathy allows her to offer guidance that is both real and relatable. Her words carry weight because they are informed by experience, grounded in wisdom, and delivered with compassion. When she speaks, people listen, not out of obligation, but because her voice carries authority rooted in truth. Even her silence has power. It teaches patience, reflection, and the importance of introspection. Her impact is not limited to the good moments, even her struggles. Her transparency and her willingness to confront her own weaknesses become lessons for others. She models resilience, showing that one can remain true, strong, and purposeful while navigating the complexities of life. Beyond individual influence, her presence has a ripple effect that touches communities, families, and even future generations. She inspires others to embrace their own potential, encouraging a cycle of growth and transformation. People remember her not only for what she says, but for how she makes them feel seen, valued, empowered, and understood. She challenges norms without confrontation, shifts perspectives without force, and plants seeds of change simply by living in alignment with her calling. Her impact is a reminder that divine selection is not just about personal greatness, but about elevating others, multiplying purpose, and leaving the world a better place than she found it. The chosen woman's influence is also grounded in integrity and discernment. She knows when to act and when to step back, when to guide, and when to allow others to find their own path. Her wisdom ensures that her impact is constructive, nurturing, and aligned with the higher plan that governs her life. People feel this, they sense that her words and actions are intentional, not impulsive, and that her presence carries a weight that demands respect and reflection. In this way, her life becomes a living example, a testament to the truth that one person walking in divine alignment can change the course of many lives through simple, deliberate, and conscious existence. Her impact is the echo of her purpose, reverberating far beyond the moment she inhabits, creating change, inspiring hope, and proving that those chosen by God are never isolated. They are instruments through which the divine moves, shaping the world one life at a time. Awareness of calling is a quiet but undeniable force in the life of a woman chosen by God. It is more than ambition, more than desire, more than a fleeting dream. It is a deep knowing that her life is part of a grand design. She feels it in the core of her being, in the moments when the world is still and the noise fades, and she can hear the subtle whispers guiding her path. This awareness is not always loud or dramatic. Often, it begins as a small spark, a subtle pull towards certain people, places, or actions that seem ordinary to others but carry extraordinary significance in her journey. She learns to listen, to trust, and to act in alignment with this inner compass because she knows it is the voice of something far greater than herself. It is this recognition, this attunement to divine guidance that distinguishes her from those who drift through life without purpose or clarity. The awareness of her calling gives her a sense of direction that cannot be shaken by failure, criticism, or doubt. Even when the road is unclear or obstacles arise, she moves with a quiet confidence, guided by the certainty that she is where she is meant to be. This internal clarity allows her to navigate challenges with focus and intentionality, knowing that every experience, whether joyful or painful, is shaping her for the destiny she is meant to fulfill. Her awareness becomes a shield against distraction, a safeguard against compromise, and a source of strength that anchors her even in the most turbulent seasons. It is not pride that fuels her actions, but alignment, a deep connection with the purpose that God has placed within her life, a purpose that cannot be ignored or denied. This awareness also brings with it discernment, a heightened sensitivity to the people, opportunities, and choices that align with her calling. She begins to see patterns where others see chaos, to sense the right steps, even when the path seems uncertain. Her intuition is sharp because it is informed by divine direction, guiding her towards situations that will fulfill her purpose and away from those that will hinder her growth. She does not rely solely on logic, circumstance, or human opinion. She trusts the inner voice, the spiritual compass that has been placed within her to direct her life. This discernment becomes one of the most visible signs of a chosen woman. For those who observe her cannot help but notice that her life moves with an intentional rhythm, a flow that seems both natural and extraordinary. Awareness of calling also instills in her a sense of responsibility and stewardship. She knows that her life is not her own alone, and that her actions can influence others, inspire change, and impact the course of those around her. This understanding drives her to live consciously, to honor her purpose in both small and significant ways, and to use her gifts intentionally for the benefit of others. She does not act recklessly or carelessly because she understands the weight of her mission. Every decision, every effort, every moment becomes an opportunity to align with the divine pattern she is meant to fulfill. It is this consciousness that elevates her existence, turning ordinary life into a series of purposeful steps that lead toward fulfillment, growth, and impact. Her awareness of calling also brings a sense of peace and resilience. She no longer questions her value or her direction because she knows that she is seen, chosen, and guided. Even when external validation is absent or the world doubts her, she remains steadfast because her inner certainty is enough. This awareness transforms her experiences, giving her the ability to embrace challenges as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, and success as a reflection of alignment with her higher purpose. It allows her to walk boldly, knowing that the path she travels is neither random nor accidental, but divinely orchestrated and deeply significant.